On behalf of the Township Board and the entire community, we want to thank you. Step right up. We want to thank you for all your efforts and what you've done for the Okemos Library. Our community is much better off because of work that you folks do, and we want to recognize that tonight. And maybe you could take a couple minutes and just share with the board what's happened and where we're at. But we have something. Oh, I never thought I'd see this. Mark giving me flowers. Okay. That's a first, maybe a last. But I would like to, on behalf of the board, present you with a token of our appreciation. There's a rose here for every one of you, and we appreciate all your work. So thank you very much.
Yes, well, thank you very much, Frank. I really appreciate that. The Friends of the Okemos Library is an organization of volunteers that support our library. Our library system in Meridian Township, in fact, the entire Ingham County, is handled through the Capillary District Library. And Capillary District Library partners with each of the municipalities, and it's up to each of the municipalities to provide the building facility for the libraries, where then Capillary District Library will provide the personnel, the books, computers, programs, and that sort of thing. The Friends of the Library is just another portion of that support that the local communities provide to their library. And so all of these are residents of Meridian Township and have been with the Friends of the Library through thick and thin.
At a statewide conference last week, I asked a panel of 4 attorneys who specialize in township law the exact question that's before us right now. The answer from the 4 attorneys in this panel was unanimous. There is no legal requirement to list any location for a millage request. Only the purpose needs to be stated, which could have been easily listed on the ballot as, quote, the purpose of this millage is to construct a new fire station within Meridian Township. One of the lawyers shook her head and asked me, why would any board member possibly want to hamstring their deliberations and eliminate all options available to the decision-making body by placing it on the ballot, by having a specific location? Another lawyer on the panel agreed and said, and asked, is there any secret motivations, political or personal motivations, behind board members being so adamant or other individuals being adamant about such a poor strategy decision? This lawyer continued and said he had seen examples where a board member wanted a specific location for a project locked in stone, unchangeable at any time, because there was a hidden motivation to ensure that a certain location would not be selected as a more desirable site in the future to construct a public building. The attorney cited a case where a board member in one township did not want a public building rebuilt in the same location that it currently stood at because they lived near that building where it stood for many years.
I think that this is going on too much.
Yes, because we tied together.
I appreciate the history that you have given us.
Thank you.
Let us
Thank you.
know how we got here, but
because
guess what? We're still here.
Yes.
That's
Now
right.
we
And
need
in
to
order
get out of here.
Thank you.
In order to prevent future mistakes and in order to deal with the legal issues at hand,
right.
we need
Do
to
you have
address.
any more
And
to
I have a
say,
fourth.
Mrs.
I have a fourth comment to make, and I'd like to tie this. I'd like
You've
to tie
gone
this.
on for 10 minutes.
And so did many other individuals and applicants. And as a board member
The
here,
applicants,
I would
yes.
like the opportunity to complete it. I have a few more statements
I know you
to
do.
make.
You have about 8 more pages.
No, I don't. I have one more page, and it's not about the amount of pages.
Oh,
It's about
7.
the facts. It's about government transparency. And it's about following state law and our own procedures that we are hypocrites about here because we would never require any other applicant to do what we are doing here ourselves. And that's mistake number 4. The township ignores its own ordinances and state law by not requiring proper land use and land development policies that every other applicant is required of. The location was specified on the millage request and placed before the voters in November 2012. The millage passed. Then it's revealed to the board and to our citizens that the township did not follow its own legally binding ordinances. The process for an applicant to obtain a special use permit was ignored. Section 61 review process was ignored until many months later after the voters approved the millage. The main problem with this and why this relates to the the motion right now that's here before the board is there is a voter expectation about the property that was listed on the ballot. Voter expectation. Voters expected the township had appropriately and legally vetted the property as part of the normal land use policies we've established for decades. And voters who voted in favor of the millage and location should be able to reasonably assume that the township had
I think it's time to go on to 12B, the commission review, 13053.
I would still request to be able to finish my statement. If I say this time, I will not repeat it again.
You won't. We've gone on for 12 minutes.
Well, I think the clerk has a right to make a statement.
Thank you very much, Trustee Veenstra. So I will try to summarize, and I will not repeat
Please.
any arguments under anything else. This is the time I'm going to express these views and be done with this particular
Really?
analysis.
I don't believe it.
Nice collegial professional board relations are occurring here. It's very nice to see the supervisor take such a unprofessional approach to people trying to have an accountable government here in Meridian Township. And I hope the voters and citizens are aware of how this process is going down right now.
There was a question I just wanted clarification on. Was there going to be some kind of grading that would come into contact with the wetland area?
Our wetland, because of the size, our ordinance says that if you have a wetland 2 acres or larger, you have to have a 40-foot setback from the edge of that wetland. Because of the location of this structure here, they will probably be doing possibly some grading within that area for the construction. Again, the board has the right to waive those setbacks as part of this approval. We would ensure that they restore the property where it is. Just to go back to that 40 feet, the first 40 feet the first 20 feet of that 40 feet adjacent to the wetland is to remain in its natural state, and there's no proposal that they're going to touch that 20 feet. It's that second 20 feet where the ordinance says no structure or grading. The idea would be that they would have to be in there to facilitate construction, but we would have them restore it back when the construction is over, because somebody could put that in. Doesn't say you can't put lawn or mow it or have grass in that area. So, and the same thing, if there's any impact on the floodplain, we would require them to restore it back to the existing elevation.
So that's what the grading would be, just for the construction purpose?
Right.
And then it would be restored back?
Right.
Okay, that's what I needed some clarification on. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Steichen.
To follow up on the clerk's question, if we take out the acreage of the wetland, do we meet the green space requirement?
I don't know unless their folks have calculated it. We just looked at the overall. But we can get that information.
Yeah, I think the ordinance allows us to use that, so we are.
I know that, but
and I'll get it. We don't have that calculation right now. We'll have it
All right.
for your next meeting. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep jumping in.
Fine.
Yes, Trustee Steichen.
Veenstra,
I'm sorry. There's a hand reaching up. And they both have blue on.
Well, I have shopped at the existing Aldi store on South Pennsylvania, and I found that they have very, low prices. So I think the Aldi store will be an addition to our community. I have some questions about details. First of all, on the plans, it says that at the Aldi store there would be only 4 bicycle parking spaces, 2 racks with parking on each side. Yet, the required number of vehicle parking spaces is 85, and our ordinance requires 1 bicycle parking space for every 10 motor vehicle parking spaces. So therefore, wouldn't 8 or 9 bicycle parking spaces be required by our ordinance?